choosing the Partition Network. Check out this latest episode of Choppin It Up with Lil Ron. If you like the episode, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like the episode, give us a thumbs down. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave the comments in the drop. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And also, last but not least, you can now purchase the new product line from the Partition, Chopping Up with Lil Ron, kickz&trickz, and more. Until next time, remember, anything is possible. I hope you enjoy this new episode. Welcome back to Chopping Up with Lil Ron. Today, as we wrap up Black History Month, I had to get another guest in here, and this guy is a book author. He's an actor. I want you guys to welcome the one and only Mr. Yolan, a poet's poet. Did I say it right?
You said it right, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then first take.
Yes, that's the, I get a lot of people in here, and sometimes I have to say certain types of names that I have to figure out, but hey, at the end of the day, everybody's names always symbolize something.
Absolutely.
But I want to introduce you to my fans that don't know you and the ones that's gonna know you. Can you kind of introduce yourself?
Absolutely, man. I go by Yolan, a poet's poet. Originally born and raised San Diego, California. Moved out here to Houston in 2001, mid 2001. Been doing spoken word in Houston and in the nation since 2008 professionally.
Wow, 2008.
2008 professionally. I performed just about everywhere you name it. Matter of fact, my last performance at Jesse H. Jones Hall downtown.
I know exactly what it is.
World's Intermission. Just wrap that up under Deep. Normally I'm at the Improv every other month with my team Soul Poetry. Shout out to Soul Poetry, Carlos Wallace and Kanai. We've been doing that at the Improv. The first poetic, how can I say this? We are the first spoken word artists as a group to hold it down at a normally comedy platform.
And I was going to hook up with a guy named Rob, and we was actually going to get together with a lady named Valencia, and I was actually going to create my own poetry show. I want to have a poetry show where people can come on and do different poets and stuff.
Yeah.
Some kind of reason it didn't fall through like it's supposed to. But if my next project that I'm going to do, because poetry is a real big thing.
I'm telling you, poetry, especially spoken word poetry, on the mic, in Houston, 7 days a week, what's going on. It's so big that when we did the documentary last year, Pens, Poetic Energy Needing Society, it was 14 poets, well-known poets out here in Houston in the local area. I think we're in 11 countries, won about 29 awards.
Wow.
Matter of fact, you can catch the documentary on Quali TV. It's like
Quali,
Black Netflix.
The rapper?
No, Quali. It's not his name, but it's actually Quali TV.
Gotcha.
It's an app you can download. You can put it on your TV, on a smart TV.
Okay.
Put it on there, man. I think it's still doing numbers from last year, man. So if you ain't got it, go to Quali TV, download the app, and it's like a Black Netflix.
And you know something? I'm going to definitely do that because I like to support my people. When I think of poetry, I think of Mos Def. Because Mos Def is...
Black Star, man.
Yeah. And he went from doing that to actually rapping.
Yeah, and acting.
Yes, and he act too as well. Speaking of acting, you act too, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man.
Is it very hard?
Whoo, I ain't even, it was back with the poetry, back with the spoken word, right? Once I got on the scene and people were starting appreciating what my rhymes or my truth was, my words were, it'd be directors and producers out there. So it started off with plays, right? So I did For Color Girls, dance crowds, you know, did several plays. And my wife, she's an actress as well. So she was the first one doing movies.
Wow.
So it was an audition for this movie, Pipe Dream. Shout out to Jalen World Productions and Katrina Jenkins. I went out to audition for the part. I killed it, but I didn't get the role that I wanted. And they say, we creating the role. So they actually created another role for me to be in this film called Genesis, right? So then it went from that to doing Definition of Manhood and Fair Play. So because you already have to memorize as a spoken word artist, you know, 4 or 5 minutes, you know what I mean, your stanzas and soliloquies, going into acting, I was coachable.
That's right.
So it went from that. So I never really had to do a lot of auditions after that. It seemed like they just keep coming. So now I'm on my 6th film.
And you know, I think when I look at poetry, and a lot of people don't like when I tell them this, Tupac paved the way. You know, Tupac was a poet.
Bruh.
And he killed Juice.
Concrete Jungle and Concrete Roses, his book.
Yep, the roses grew from the concrete.
From the concrete. Yes. Man, and reading that, you was like, man, you can hear, because a lot of times we get mixed up in the beat. But hip-hop is poetry.
That's right.
It was our language of the street. But it goes farther than that. It goes back to bebop. It goes farther than that. It goes back with blues and jazz. Right. It's always been around. So to see it evolved like everything else, because as a culture of people, we constantly have to evolve and innovate ourselves. Right. But that's why spoken word is so important, because it's your truth.
That's right. This reminds me of Public Enemy.
Man.
Fight the Power. I love Fight the Power. People don't listen to Fight the Power. Fight the Power is like a real good song. If you listen to exactly what they're telling you in there, you will hear everything.
But look around, you think about that, you think about self-destruction. Remember that song?
Yep, self-destruction.
So back in the early 90s and late 80s, we started coming into what you call the native tongues. Tribe Called Quest, Leaders of the New School, Brand Nubians, Arrested Development, Black Sheep, right? And that wasn't underground like it is now. Because we also see what mainstream has done with our music too.
Like Busta Rhymes. Remember Busta Rhymes? People don't know Busta Rhymes was in that group.
He was Leaders of the New School.
There you go. And see, people, they don't know that.
Yeah, it's just another day up on the PT. Yeah,
hey,
you know what I mean? So when we were blessed, you know what I mean? I'm 43, right? So I got to say we were around the same age. I'm 43. Yeah. So
I'm 40. I'll be 41, hopefully.
Come on.
Man.
Come on.
I was just playing P. I'm done the other day.
Oh, man.
Some people, they don't know.
Every MC is a natural poet, right? So now, when I came to the game, shout out to my homeboy, Ernest Benson. You know, I was writing. I always wrote. You know what I mean? I was MCing when I was, we always MCing as kids, right? So I wrote my first book, Mixed Emotions. I just didn't publish it. You know, I just sat it down, just something to do. He took it. And 3 months later, I'm like, yo, when I get my book back? He like, man, you need to get on the mic. So shout out to Seven. It was, what was it? Not Bamboo, Shadow Bar. I went down there and I did a piece. Crowd go crazy. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, this poetry is, something different, right? But at the time, I was still writing like 16s. So it took my homegirl that I met on the scene too, Deep. And she was like, all right, now take out all the rhymes, right? And I was writing on this piece called Soul Power. And I started taking the rhymes out here and there and reread it. She was like, now that's poetry. Now it's turning to spoken word. Because now spoken word is amorisms when you're on the mic. So it's not just reading it like a poetry book. Now you're expressing it.
From your heart.
From your heart. You're putting that passion in it. And once I started learning that, man, it was like I couldn't stop getting gigs, bro.
Yeah, and when you get gigs, man, once people catch on to you, they catch on to you. Like when I started to do my show, I just did it. We were just talking about the quarantine. And some people think, hey, man, because COVID. Believe it or not, I was actually just sitting at the house, and I was talking to Chazelle Bush, and we was talking about what I wanted to do. And I said, well, man, I want to come out with a show where I'm just going to do an unboxing of a whole bunch of stuff. So I bought all the equipment to do everything. I ain't do nothing with it. At the last minute, he had some type of disagreement with his spouse. And I was like, man, you need to get you out the house. Man, we need to get a studio, man, so we can do this. And from there, I went from having one thing to kickz&trickz to this, to bringing the world to introduce to Booker, to bring him into the Choppin It Up with Lil Ron's world, to bring him to kickz&trickz, to show him to the world, to transition him over to his own show.
Come on, man.
I put people in place.
Paying it
for them
forward.
to, yes, I want them to be bosses. I want to be in the presence of nothing but bosses. I don't want nobody to work for me.
Oh, man, come on now.
And when you do that, when you align yourself around bosses, get bosses.
I was just telling Anthony the same thing. What you keep yourself around will make you.
Yes.
You know? So the moment I started surrounding myself with brothers and sisters that's like, we going here with it. Positive vibes with it. Things that I didn't even imagine I wanted to do. Because mind you, when I moved out here, I was coming off of the street. You know what I mean? I don't want to cuss or nothing.
No, you good. We got a beep.
Yeah, I was coming off that turf talk. You know what I mean? Because if you know Southern Cali, everybody know Cali. So I grew up I'm a product of environment at. You know what I mean? So I had to do something different. So it was my uncle who called me, live in Mo City. He was like, yo, nephew, just come out here for a couple weeks, get your mind together, right? So I came out, and brother, when I tell you, I ain't never seen, it was like a black utopia.
And it's crazy when you talk, it reminds me of Too Short. The whole time I'm talking to you, I was like, man, he gotta be from over there because he sound just like, I can tell it in your accent, in your voice.
Man, it grew me up. I was 21, right? And I was like, man, what am I gonna do with my life, But I never seen a historical black college before, and it's none of that in Cali, right? Got a lot of historical prisons, right?
That's right.
So, but then third ward, fifth ward, and I had partners I was meeting out here just take me around, man. And I said, you know what? I can be somebody. Now, this goes back into your environment. When you're getting told this is what you're going to be statistically, you're going in this time and this. So I had to leave in order to understand the value of myself.
That's right.
Man, I went to school, got my degree in pathology, started doing phlebotomy for a minute, and for almost 20 years, I worked in the medical field.
Hold on, you a bomb people?
Yeah, man. No, phlebotomy.
Oh, with the blood.
Drew blood.
Drew the blood out.
Drew blood,
Okay.
play with fluids, look at the microscope. Like, I did all of that. You know what I mean? From babies to geriatrics to donors. And you name it, man, I did it. Wow. And I was just good at it. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I ain't know I was good at. You don't know unless you try.
And you talk to a lot of people. And you see a lot of stuff.
Man, I learned so much. Back on to the point when 2015, when I had my heart attack. I had a massive heart attack in 2015.
Oh, man.
Right. This is what caused me to have to retire. I was still doing shows. I was still rocking mics and stuff like that. But when that happened, I flatlined twice. I had to end up having an ICD. I got a, ICD, defibrillator pacemaker right now. Put on a heart transplant list, bro. You know what I mean? Right? That was at 35. I had just lost 4 partners back home to heart attacks, all around the same age. All was worked out, played football. I ain't do no hard substance, this herb, you know what I mean? That's not a substance, it's God-given plant. Thank you, Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I wasn't like eating bad, but I wasn't eating, super healthy either. I was in shape. I worked out 3 days a week. So they couldn't find out what was going on with it. So you know what they chunk it up? It's like stress and your diagnosis, African-American male. Right?
They say that. They always say stress, always. And
right.
They always say diabetes, always.
Yeah, right?
Tear us up.
Always tear us up. So from that, laying up, having a layup and really couldn't move around, wife encouraging, the elders coming through. It's like, so what you gonna do? I say, man, I don't know. Because, especially as a black man, we are providers, protectors.
That's right.
Plus, I was in the streets out here with Derek Muhammad, shout out to Derek Muhammad, and our Project Push Forward movement. And Buff, just on the activism tip, that's how I was raised. So it was really grooving. So when it happened, I said, man, if I'm going to go out before I go out, I got to leave something for my babies so they can do. And that's how the book came.
Yes. And I'm looking at that book as you talk.
Yeah, man.
Tell me, is this your first book or is
That's my first published book. First
published
professional
book.
Published book. Yeah.
Tell me about this book because it looked very interesting to me.
Okay, so Unknown Child Named Yolan is just based, of course, on my first name.
Okay.
Because everybody's like, man, what that mean? Or can't pronounce it. I asked the same thing. So I was doing research, and no matter of fact, it was a patient of mine. She's Persian. And she said, in Persia, Yolan means beautiful black horse, right? Ooh. So I started doing more. So you can't, because every time you type in Yolan, it was Yolanda would pull up, right? So I said, well, let me go deeper. The more I dug, no lie, it said Yolan represents passion, warrior, poet.
Wow.
The arts. 20 of us was in the world today, right? Every last one of them, from India to Africa, Asia, all in some type of arts, right? Trip on this, George Lucas. Everybody know who George Lucas is, right? Star Wars. got a character named Yolan Brim. Pull
Out
it up.
of the Star Wars.
Out of Star Wars.
Yes.
In the comics. You pull that up, you find out he's from the planet Islam, right? Poet, warrior. So at the time, I was like, I'm asking Mom, what you think? She was like, oh, it was just a French rock group I like. So, you were supposed to come out, a girl was that, but, I just cut the DA off. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. So that's.
You say they like, Mom, you probably watching the Star Wars.
Right. So I was like, I'm bugging on this because by the time I found out this, I'm in my late 20s, right? I'm in my late 20s. So then down on top of that, Yolan represented, I wanted to tell a story from how I was raised as a youngster to being a grown man. So it's like almost like a poetic biography. You know what I mean? And it's just been doing numbers, man. Cause
I see it because that book, like, it's very, very interesting.
Oh, man. Big game. The cover. We was at Rice University, let us hold a Black Male Summit there, right? All the young brothers up there. I think it was about 1,500 of them at the time. It was a brother there from Ohio who do artwork, drawing. So I was up there talking to the brothers. He's sitting there drawing. I get off stage, man. He said, yo. So he drew this. Wow. I was on stage, man.
Shout out to the brother that drew this cover.
Yeah.
This is the question. We come to this segment, what we do, we call Leon's Top 5. Leon was a cousin of mine that got killed in 18-wheeler last year.
Sorry to hear that, bro.
And, yeah, I always dedicate this segment to him. So, what is your top 5 artists? Since you're a poet, top 5 music. It can be rap, R&B, gospel, jazz. It don't matter. Okay. What's your top 5?
Man, so many, but I can right off the rip. It'll be Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Okay, you mentioned Mos Def earlier. John Coltrane.
Okay.
James Brown.
Oh, man, I got the feeling.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? And Curtis Mayfield, man.
What you know about Curtis, man? Hey, man, I was just listening to Pushing, man. Before I came here, I was pushing.
You go on my IG, one of my stories had that keep on pushing.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
man.
Yeah,
and people think I'm talking about, I'm your pusher, man.
Right. Superfly. They did Superfly.
Yes, it's some people, 2 different ones. Yeah. How can the people find you?
Man, you can follow me on my website, www.yolanyoung.com.
Okay.
IG, Apoets Poet.
Okay.
Facebook, Yolan Young. Find me on any one of those platforms.
Okay, and the book, where can they buy it from?
The book, you can also buy it on Amazon, on what they call it, the electric book.
Yeah, the digital ebook.
The ebook you can get on Amazon. If you want to get the hard copy or paperback, you can go ahead and Cash App Yolan Young, or you can go on my website as well, or just follow me on Instagram, you know what I mean, or IG, inbox me, give me an address and everything. I'll shoot you one out. Okay, well, I enjoyed you. I am definitely going to have you back. I had to make sure I bring you on for Black History because I think what you do is historical. Yes, sir. And I don't care what nobody say. And in my eyes, I can't wait to actually take a look at the book my own self. Oh, I got you, brother. I got you. Oh, man. Until next time, always remember, anything is possible. Thank you for choosing Chopping It Up with Lil Ron. Until next time, we out. Peace.